So my main argument is as follows. If Ash'arism were to be true, then Islam is false. Yes.
So that's your argument.
You want me to tell you? Ask me how. So you're supposed to ask me how.
Yes.
Ash'arism or Ash'arism, and it's by the way, Ash'arism. There are different Ash'arism, by the way. There are the Ash'ariyah of al-Bayhaqi. There are the Ash'ariyah of Juwayni. This is the Ash'ariyah of Nawawi. And al-Razi in his book نهاية إتحاف العقول, he explained this matter briefly, and he said that there are different classes of Ash'arism, and some late Ash'aris would consider early Ash'aris to be mujassima or anthropomorphist according to their own late position when it comes to attributes. So when we speak about Ash'arism, we need to define clearly which Ash'arism are we talking about, are we speaking about. Second thing, Maturidism is not Ash'arism. So what's happening nowadays that the friendship or the alleged friendship that has been floating upon the surface between Maturids and Ash'ari, it's not actual, because we all know that Maturidis in their books, and I have some scans about that, they make takfir of you, of Ash'ari in general. So acting like your old friend, that doesn't also work, especially with someone who
so far you mentioned 2 points. Okay, you mentioned 2. But you're not backing your first point. Your first point was Islam would be false. So far, how did you back that point?
Can I finish my point? I didn't even start. That was just like an introduction to it. Can I finish?
Okay, I thought you were going to prove that Islam would be false if Ash'arism is true.
That's what I'm going to do. But I gave an introduction to which Ash'arism do you subscribe to in order for us to accept your own theological concept. Which Ash'arism do you subscribe to? Like, for example, Al-Baqillani used to affirm the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, used to affirm the ulu. Are you Al-Baqillani Ash'ari? No. Baqillani, according to some contemporary Ash'aris, would be a kafir because he affirms those attributes. That's by admission of Al-Razi himself.
Al-Razi Is that question for me?
No, I'm just giving an introduction to it. When I start asking questions, I will let you know. Okay. So my point goes as follows. If you I feel like you're in a bit of a rush, so I will get right into it. Ash'arism, from the basis of Ash'arism, they deem the textual evidences as dhanniya. They deem. Do you know what the word dhanniya means? They're not clear cut. They're not they're not accepted by themselves because they think they do not produce yaqeen. They don't produce like certainty. Therefore, they do not rely on them that much. In that case, if someone claimed that Islam would be false because we do not have any transmissions or narration in which the first 3 generations of Islam had been or have said anything that aligns with Ash'ari theology or Ash'ari creedal positions. We only find that in the late 300 centuries after the death of the well-pronounced and known scholars of Islam. After that, the Ash'arism were born, and as we all know, that Abu al-Hasan Ash'ari have lived as a Mu'tazili for the best 40 years of his life. Then after that, he converted and he started Ash'arism all over again. So someone can argue that if textual evidences were not accepted on the basis of Ash'arism, is not accepted, and we cannot find any evidence or we cannot find any relation to the creedal position that Ash'aris now adopt to the prior generation. Therefore, it's either that Ash'arism is correct and Islam is false, or Islam is not Ash'arism. Someone can argue on this point by saying the following, by saying that Ash'arism or Ash'ari theological concepts are somewhat of like fiqhi standpoints. They are extracted from textual evidences in order to formulate those kind of theological concepts. But that wouldn't work. The reason for that is they deem those textual evidences to be merely kufr. Therefore, and that's not the case for fiqh. Imam al-Shafi'i in his book Al-Risala, he have well established that while responding to some deviant mutakallimin. He have established that, and also Imam Kharija in the book of Imam al-Khallal, Kitab al-Sunnah, on the authority of Imam Kharija, he said, we have the scholars behind us. Who did they have? And also Imam Mubarak, when someone asked him, how do we know our Allah, our God? He said, we know our God above the seventh sky on his throne, mustawin ala arshihi, and so on and so forth. So I think that's my point. I just presented the argument, which is if Ash'arism was correct, then Islam would not be correct. If Islam was correct, then Ash'arism should be automatically falsified. If they cite it or if they use the fiqh analogy or standpoint, which is that they extract their basis as we extract fiqhi ruling from textual evidences, that wouldn't work, because in the Ash'ari concept, first of all, textual evidences are not to be cited because they do not produce certainty. They merely produce speculation and so on and so forth. Second point is that they deem textual evidences or the appearing textual evidences to be merely kufr with no exceptions, and that's not the case in fiqh. So that's as we say in our in fiqh matters, قياس مع الفارق. This is an analogy with a clear distinction, so it doesn't work both ways. I'm happy to hear your response.
Okay, so he spoke about maybe 6-7 minutes. Inshallah, I'll speak roughly about the same time. All right, so firstly, you made a claim that if Ash'arism is true, then Islam would be false. I'll make the exact same claim back to you, and what I'm going to do the same thing what you just did. So if Salafism is true, then Islam would be incorrect. Why? Because firstly, the usul of Salafism is we affirm what Allah has affirmed, and we negate only what Allah has negated explicitly in the Quran and Sunnah. Now, why is this a faulty usul? This usul is faulty because certain things like thirst. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. No problem. I'll defend my position. No problem. Is that okay? Can I defend what you mentioned? I'll respond to that first, and then I'll. So if you don't mind, just mute for 7 minutes, around about 7 minutes, and I'll spend the same time responding to you, and then also making an argument against you. Okay. So firstly, you mentioned about the Ash'arism. Which Ash'ari is it? This Ash'ari or that Ash'ari? Is it Baqilani or this or that? They can have incorrect opinions, but it's for the madhab. Just like the Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi, and Hanbali, they have different opinions amongst themselves, but then they have a mu'tamad opinion that is relied upon. Same thing with Aqidah. You have people who will have different views and some heretical views. You have abnormal views, but then you have a mu'tamad, a relied upon view in the madhab. So we have formalized books where they tell us what's our creed. Now in the Ash'ari Maturidi creed, they have the same approach when it comes to the Asma wa Sifat. We can find contemporary books that have defined how we approach them. We do tafweed, we also do ta'wil, and this is the united approach that actually Maturidi have. Now the difference between them in the history, I acknowledge the difference between them in history, there's no problem. But likewise, now I want to make a point against you. In the Salafism, you have different scholars as well. They differ. Ibn Taymiyyah differed with other scholars in Aqidah. He differed with Albani, he differed with Bin Baz, he differed with Ibn Uthaymeen on different points. So for example, the hellfire coming to an end, he differed with them on these kind of points. On Aqidah, he said that hellfire will come to an end, Ibn Taymiyyah, and there's other points that they differ with each other. Now, are we going to say are we going to say to the Salafis, which Aqidah do you follow? Do you follow the Aqidah of Ibn Taymiyyah or this? So this is the narrative you're creating, and this is my response to you. You have the same issue if you're going to present it in that way. Secondly, I was mentioning your usul. The usul of the Salafism is faulty. Why is it faulty? Because you say you affirm what Allah has affirmed and you negate what Allah has negated. The problem with this is there's certain things in the Quran and Sunnah, thirst and hunger and these kind of things are not negated explicitly. They're not negated explicitly. Instead, we have certain verses about Allah not being deficient, Allah not having deficiencies, or there's nothing like unto Allah, etc. And Allah is independent from the world. We use these as principles, usul. We use it as usul to then say Allah doesn't have these things. Allah is not hunger, Allah is not thirsty. So your usul, your fundamental usul of the Salafism is faulty, so faulty that you would have to, in your methodology, you have to be agnostic. You have to say, maybe Allah can be thirsty, maybe He can be hungry because Allah hasn't negated it explicitly, or these kind of approaches is you're going to have in Salafism. This is a major problem within Salafism. So if you want to respond to these 2 points I mentioned, go ahead.
Have you finished?
Yeah.
Can you please mute yourself like I just did? So dealing with your point one by one. In the start of my claim, I dealt with your previous proclaimed response, which is that Aqidah is the same like fiqh. So Malik have a different opinion, Ahmed have a different opinion. It doesn't work like that. I have dealt with this claim in my introduction, in my previous statement, which is you declare the one who differ with you on this matter to be a kafir. It's not the case with Malik, Shafi'i, Ahmed. There is no one who have ever made takfir of each other when it regards to some fiqh matters. Aqidah is not like fiqh. By the way, according to some Maturidi scholars, and I can cite you some, you would be a kafir for making that statement. According to some Aqidah, Ash'ari and Maturidi scholars, you would be a kafir for making that statement because you're acquiring فرعي matters with أصولي matters. You're making them similar as the same status. That's first of all, and I have dealt with it in my introduction, so I don't know how you just went over your head or something. I don't know. Second of all, I will deal with your second approach. You said that we have كتب معتمد, we have books that are guaranteed or accepted or something, يعني the default one, the one that we can rely on. That's not the case for everyone. Like for example, Al-Razi believes in عقيدة that's not like Al-Baqlani's عقيدة. Second of all, you said we have different approaches, which is تفويض, إثبات, and so on and so forth. That's a lie. Ibn Fawrak consider المفوضة كفار, مبتدعة. Ibn Fawrak, you know Ibn Fawrak, one of the primary scholars of Ash'arism. He considers the one who makes tafwid, who says that those texts have no meaning, to be a kafir. He cited that very clearly. And some Ash'ari scholars consider this to be problematic for them. And I can cite you, I have scans if you want to, I will give you the evidence for that. Second of all, Maturidis have made takfir of Ash'aris for some certain, like, you know what, later on maybe I will fetch those scans for you. For some creedal positions when it regards to Iman, when it comes to proving or making distinction between السمع والبصر and other صفات, hearing and seeing and other صفات, and that's a well-known debate. I know I'm not your typical Salafi guy who you would debate and he will use Ibn Uthaymin and Albani and Ibn Taymiyyah as an argument. I'm not that guy. I'm someone who knows this stuff. I will cite you evidences from the first 100 until the contemporary days. I have no problem with doing that. That's the second claim that you've made. The third claim that you've made, you made a comparison between Ibn Taymiyyah. I will deal with the claim that Ibn Taymiyyah negates the eternity of hellfire and Jannah. It's a very dumb claim, by the way. When he commented on the Maratib al-Ijma' of Ibn Hazm, there is a whole book for Ibn Hazm. It's called Maratib al-Ijma', the matter of consensus, or stuff like that, the status of consensus. Ibn Taymiyyah wrote a revision, or it's like a book commenting on that book for Ibn Hazm. Ibn Hazm, he mentioned a status, or he mentioned a point in which he says وأجمعوا, and they have agreed that hellfire and Jannah and Nar لا تفنيان, and he says that's correct. He agreed upon it, and in all of his books. The thing is, you're just repeating what some Ash'ari liars are saying. That's it. And there is a whole book about it. I can give it to you. And also, if you're gonna cite Ibn Qayyim's position, Ibn Qayyim was not even speaking about the hellfire, which is the fire of the kuffar. He was speaking about a certain thing, which is Nar al-Muwahhidin, the hellfire, or the fire in which the Muslims that will be punished in, and they will get out to the Jannah. He was speaking about a specific thing, and there is athar from the Salaf that established the same thing. Let alone all of this, even if I agreed with you, that's not the same as your own position. It's not the same that you have in Ash'arism. I don't think you know your aqidah. Like, even by comparing or making no comparison between Ash'arism and Maturidism, that's in of itself something big. It's like you think that truth are not absolute. It could be either with Maturidis or Ash'aris. If they were the same, why would they split? Why would they be different aqidah for Abu Mansur Maturidi, different aqidah for Abu al-Hasan Ash'ari, different aqidah for Ibn Fawrak? For example, do you accept what has been written in Al-Ibana? Do you agree with it? Al-Ibana, there is anthropomorphism. According to your creed, there is a clear-cut anthropomorphism. And this book has been established to Abu al-Hasan, according to some Ash'aris. And they cite it. There is a well-known Azhari scholar, and he have explained this book, and he have wrote a whole manuscript about it, a whole book about it, establishing its authenticity to Abu al-Hasan. According to you, in this book, he affirms the hand, he affirms all the sifat that the Salaf affirmed. That's my second point. My third point is, agreeing with Al-Albani or disagreeing with Al-Albani or Ibn Uthaymin, Ibn Baz, that's not our point. We claim to be Salafi. I told you, I'm not your typical guy Salafi. I do not agree, I do not care if I disagree with Al-Albani in some matter or not. I do not care if I disagree with Ibn Baz and Uthaymin. That's not my point. I call myself Salafi for a reason. I follow the Salaf. I don't call myself Saudi. I'm not Saudi, by the way. I'm Libyan. I don't call myself any name else. No, I say Salafi, someone who follows the Salaf. And I can back up my points. Any claim I would make, I can back it up. I can, you know what? If you want to live Ibn Taymiyyah, I can easily do that. I establish every point I want from the books of the Salaf. The book of Imam Abu Khayma, the 3rd century, 380. In the same style Ibn Taymiyyah said about Al-Qadr al-Mushtarak, which is the shared meaning or the shared amount. That there is sifat that has shared portion of it when it comes to wording and meaning. But that does not necessitate similarity. It does not necessitate tamthil and tashbih. Imam al-Darimi made the same thing. He died 200 and something. He was one of the shuyukh that Imam al-Bukhari narrated upon. Even further than that, Ibn Hajar in his book Fath al-Bari, he acknowledged that clearly. He says Imam Bukhari have put his Sahih on trying or establishing the affirmation of sifat. Ibn Hajar saying that clear cut, and I can fetch the document for you, the scan for you. I challenge you, or I would challenge any Ash'ari on this on the face of the earth nowadays, who can even link me or give me a reliable narration in which he can prove any creedal position that he subscribed to that goes back to the 3rd century, prior to the 3rd century. Imam Ahmad, Imam Bukhari, Imam Malik, even Abu Hanifa. I have no problem with that. If you can do that, I'll be glad to accept it. But the fact is, you cannot. Even Ash'aris have conceded that. Al-Juwayni have said the same thing. Ibn Farak have said the same thing, and so on and so forth. I believe that I've dealt the second claim, the last claim that you have just said, which is that not negating what Allah have negated is something like that. I will deal with this claim right now. The thing is, as Muslims, we say, I think you mentioned the statement, but you fail to understand it. I think that goes back to your lack of knowledge. But the thing is, just stated it. We affirm what Allah has affirmed for Himself. That does not mean we do not negate anything else. No, we affirm what He has affirmed to Himself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, it's not like them, and He's all hearing, all seeing. And other than that, he says, وَلَا تَعْلَمُ لَهُ سَمِيًّا وَلَا تَضْرِبُ لَهُ الْأَمْثَالِ, and so on and so forth, verses. Imam al-Darimi in his book نقد الداري مع المريسي, he died in the one I just mentioned earlier, in the late 200. He have mentioned the same rule, which is that النفي can be مجمل. You know what مجمل is? Is in general term. Everything that is creation-like, or there is deficiency is negated from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But affirmation in of itself, it needs, like for example, in affirmation, we need a specification of it. We need to citation of it in the Quran or the Sunnah, or in the action or the statement of the Sahaba, and so on and so forth. Because they are the one who use the same ruling in when it comes to fiqh matters. By the way, be careful with your statement, because in fiqh matters, you will need it. Even some madhabi Ash'aris have noted this deficiency, like late ones. They have noted this deficiency in Ash'ari reasoning, and they have said, according to our reasoning in this so-and-so context, that will make us revoke every fiqh standpoint that we have, because we do not accept their own explanation and their own narration of the Quran and Sunnah. Therefore, why would we accept anything from them? Quran, Sunnah. If we do not accept their own say, which is well established to them in Aqidah, how can we accept anything else? Quran have passed to us through whom? Through the Sahaba, through the Tabi'een. If they were kuffar according to Ash'aris, why would we accept anything from them? I think that wraps up your lazy argument.
Lazy? We haven't finished yet, brother. Okay, firstly, Al-Bana is fabricated. Al-Ibana is fabricated. So this is what you're using against the Ash'ari Maturidis. That's the first thing you said.
I need to abide you by something before you start. I can easily say it's fabricated. This is fabricated. This is not established. That's easy to say. But are you saying that everyone who affirmed this book to be authenticated to Ash'ari, is he a liar, a deviant? Do you accept that?
Because there could have been a copy existed, but the copy that we have currently is not reliably transmitted. So that's the difference. So the scholars have said in the past, they said Ibana, they attributed it to them. Bro. I'm sorry, bro, but I have to respond to all your points. It's not going to be fair if you speak for like 10 minutes, 7 minutes, and then I can't respond to your points. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, he's saying the Salafi creed, he's trying to imply there's no difference of opinion amongst the Salafi creed. Their own scholar, Salafi scholar, he says, he talks about Allah having 5 fingers. Another scholar says, Na'udhu billah, how can we say this? So is he telling me there's no difference? Isn't that kufr? Amongst themselves, they have these differences. And they're trying to say that Ash'ari Maturidi differ. The Ash'ari Maturidi differ on minor issues. Minor issues that they don't take you out of all of Islam. That's why we have a unity between the Ash'ari and Maturidi. That's the first thing. Second thing is, he quoted Darimi. Darimi, in his book, what do we find? We find kufr and bid'ah statements, such as he says Allah has a physical distance to his creation. Physical distance.
Nobody says physical.
He says this in his
book,
Darimi, and Ibn Taymiyyah approved of this. And another statement, he says Allah has a place. In another place, he says Allah moves, sits, and stands. Bro, if this is not a human, why is it? Moves, sits, and stands. These are changes. Allah doesn't change. He's eternal. He's perfect. Secondly, in the same book, it says, when Allah sits upon the throne, the kursi, there remains a space of 4 fingers in it. There's 4 fingers in it. So they're telling you there's a size with Allah. There's a certain size, because we know the kursi, the size of the kursi, it has a size to it. For example, the arsh, the angel will carry the arsh, etc. There's a size to these things. And they're saying when Allah sits upon the kursi, there remains a space of 4 fingers. Another place, he said in the same book, he says, when God sits on the throne, it makes a sound because of his weight. So then they're saying this is like a quantity. This being is something that you can weigh. Okay, so they made it into a tangible being that you can actually pick up. It's a being that has a size, it has a weight. Now, if this is not kufr, I don't know what is kufr, brother. Another place he says Allah came into contact with a human. Okay, came into contact with Adam. This is hulul, which means mixing with the creation. In another place, it says Allah rests and sits upon the back of a mosquito. Okay, Allah can do this, it says in this other place. And these are all books, these are all things that Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Qayyim have approved of, and I have evidences for this. And that's why this creed is full of kufr, which if a person actually believes in these things, he will not be a Muslim no more, because he has made Allah into a quantitative being that you can pick up. Like, my bottle of water, I can pick it up, there's a size to it, there's a weight to it, and there's a distance to from the bottle to me. This is all things that we're not supposed to be believing in. We're not supposed to even be thinking about these things, but let alone believing in them. And this is their scholars, major scholars, are believing in these kind of things, that Allah has a weight to it. He's got a size to him, and he's got a place, and he's got a limit. This is what the scholar is saying. He says that Allah has a limit. Na'udhu billah min dhalik. So it looks like he left because he couldn't hear all my points.
Can I talk to you instead?
Khair is what it is.
Can we deal with what you said one by one, since you made, I think, almost 12 lies, which is pretty close to the lies that you
wait, before we deal with that, why did your so-called scholar leave? Why did he leave?
First of all, he's not a scholar, by the way. He's a good brother. But he didn't leave because he's not able to deal with your claims. Basically, what you're doing is that you're trying to tell him the book is fabricated. But this is not how a debate should go. If you want to discuss if something is fabricated or not, you should have a back and forth, not have a 7 minute or 5 minutes, and then he has 5 minutes, and then he has 5 minutes.
Why was he speaking for about 7 minutes?
Please let me answer you. The debate should be the guy makes the argument. Yeah, I am answering you. The guy makes an argument for 7 minutes. He explains his arguments and so on. He gives the evidences for it. And then it's your turn to respond, and you respond, you give the evidences for it. If he does not agree with you, then he would respond back. If he agrees with you, then you would end it here. But now you're saying, okay, the thing you quoted is fabricated, and now you're going to move on. No, you should address how it's fabricated. You should prove it. You should bring the evidences and so on. And he was trying to tell you what I just told you now. You see what I mean? So this is where the misunderstanding.
No, I'll tell you why that's a problem. I'll tell you why that's a problem. Because if I'm saying it's fabricated, he can ask me, okay, what's the evidence?
This is what he wants you to do right away.
No. He can't expect me to do that right away when firstly I don't have the evidence on the hand. Like I don't carry it around.
You shouldn't make that claim, because this claim is going to affect the debate. It's going to change the debate.
I should make a claim if I've read this.
Yeah, you read this
this is fabricated.
I know you read this.
Okay, so I didn't make it up, did I?
Because I did see some people saying it's fabricated. But he wants you to bring the evidence.
I took it from my. No, that's fine. That's fine. If you can demand that separately. But if I'm answering these points, I'm going to go through the list. In a debate, I want to go through down all of the answers.
He didn't answer.
And then he can come back and ask me, okay, what's the answer?
Because the debate is not going to end, and then you're just going to disregard his claim against that book if you're just going to say it's fabricated. Now you can just evade anything.
You're one-sided. I wouldn't expect you to say otherwise. You're one-sided. You're one-sided.
Wallahi, I'm not.
Yeah, of course you are.
Wallahi, I'm not. Let me explain.
So he can speak 10 to 7 minutes, and when I speak the first 10 seconds, he's like, oh, what's the evidence?
Imagine I tell you all the books that, or all the texts that you cite now from some scholar that I like, all of them are fabricated, so don't use them against me. You're just going to be like, okay, now I can't even make a single argument against that author. You see what I mean? So he doesn't want it to be this way. That's why he's saying you shouldn't deny it unless you have evidence to deny it. You see what I mean? That's what he wants you to say. That's it. He just wants you to move on. Like, you see what I mean? Like, it just feels like you're going to evade the whole discussion if you just say, okay, this is fabricated, I'm going to move on. No, he wants you to, okay, let's continue. Why is it fabricated? What's your evidence? And so on.
You can't, and then he can prove to you that it's not. You can't force the other person to speak in a certain way or give a certain evidence in a certain way.
Yeah, that's why I told you shouldn't even say that it's fabricated. You just tell them that I don't believe in that book personally.
Listen, in a discussion or debate, when a person is given a response, they're going to give a response according to how they want to give it.
Force you to talk the way that he wants you to talk. I agree with you.
Right, and he should allow me to finish. He should allow me to finish. Yeah, and then once I finish, then he should respond.
He just wanted you.
No, he didn't.
He didn't want to. Please, 1 second. He didn't want you spend 7 7 minutes talking about a topic that he could just like tell you, look,
that's none of his business.
let's
that's
focus
none of
on
his
something
business.
else.
No, but that's none of his business. How
Yeah, he's not here to entertain you, so he can leave.
Anyway,
Look,
you ran away. There's no problem. If you have someone
spend
better,
7 minutes doing whatever you want to do, I'm gonna continue with you, no issue, on the claims that you just made, and then we're done. I don't want to drag this any further. But like I said, he's not here to watch you talk about something that is not part of the discussion for 7 minutes. This is why he wants you to focus on the thing that he wants you to focus on, and he's not forcing you, by the way. But this is the debate, and I'll come back to the thing about it. You could say, personally, I don't believe it's authentic, so don't use this as an argument against me. Now you have the right that he shouldn't use this as an argument against you. So now he told you, yeah, I'm not going to use it against you, but your scholars themselves have authenticated that book. You see what I mean? So he's going to use it as an argument against them, which you say they're good scholars. Go ahead.
Do you want to time this? So do you want to speak to me? Then we have a back and forth.
Just a discussion. I just want to deal with the claim one by one.
No, I prefer time.
I prefer having it as a discussion. Can we first, what claim did Darimi make that is tajsim? Just give me one of them. You listed 10 of them. All of them are lies, and they're just a little also inconsistent. You said he believes there is a physical direction. How can you attribute physicality to a direction which is not even a thing that is tangible or exists outside the mind? A direction is a concept. A concept has a correct meaning that exists in reality. It's not a creation. Concept are not creation. So how can a distance be physical? Can you please explain?
Okay, I'll tell you how a distance is physical. If you're pointing at somewhere, isn't that some place that is physical? And then once
no. Where you're pointing can be physical.
Bro, you have to let me finish.
The direction itself is not physical. You didn't answer.
I don't want to mute you, so just allow me to finish what I'm saying.
Answer something that I didn't ask about. Go ahead.
No, I'm answering exactly what you asked about.
I asked you about explain how a direction can be physical. That's what I asked, right? Can you answer how direction can be physical?
I'm not using simply direction. I'm using other factors as well.
I want you to tell me how a direction can be physical, please. Because you said he attributed a physical direction to Allah. That direction you attributed it with physicality. Prove how it's physical.
Okay, let me answer you then. Okay. Isn't the heaven and earth physical?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, you mean by physical that it exists outside the mind, it's tangible?
Okay, it's tangible.
You can sense it? You mean
so now when you point up and then you said God is there, you point up and you said God is there. Okay, isn't that so if the where you're pointing to, isn't that something that is physical?
No, what you're pointing to is different from the concept of having direction between what you're pointing to and what that thing is. I'll explain to you in a little less complicated manner. You have a chair in front of you or something. Can you point to it? You can, right? Can you see that chair? You can. So does the chair have a place? It does have a place. But can you touch place itself? You can't. Like, suppose that you say, oh, but I can touch the floor that the chair is on. The floor itself has a place also. So you can touch the floor, you can look at the floor, you can point towards the floor, but you can't touch place, you can't point the place, you can't see the place, you can't smell the place. Because place is not something that exists outside the mind. It's a concept. This is what he means, by the way, at Darim. So he's not saying Allah has a physical attribute called had or limit, like you said. He doesn't believe that the direction itself is physical because directions are concepts. It just has a correct meaning behind it. This is what a concept is.
Say it again. I didn't understand it. So you're saying when we're pointing at a direction...
no, you're not pointing at a direction. You're pointing to something and there's a direction. You see what I mean? So it's in front of you, right? This is the direction. It's in front of you. You see what I mean? Can you
you're saying that it's not
Can you
physical.
touch direction? Yeah. Can you touch direction? No. Why? Because it's concept.
Okay.
Yeah. You see what I mean?
The response is this: when you're pointing and you're saying that is Allah, you're saying Allah is there.
Yeah,
His
Allah's above them,
for example.
Yeah.
Or you say al arsh, or you say he's sitting, and you're saying I am pointing to that being. Now that obviously you're pointing at something that's physical. Why?
Yeah.
Why? I tell you why.
Physical. We don't say Allah is physical in
because
this sense.
the same Darimi. I tell you why physical. I tell you why. The same Darimi is saying that he has a weight.
No.
Do you understand what weight is?
No, this is a different claim, by the way. Thiqal. Some of the Salaf, when they said this, one second. A thiqal is a different thing than direction. Thiqal, the weight, is what you're talking about. Nobody said Allah himself is the cause of this weight. They said Allah makes the throne feel that weight. It's not that Allah himself has a weight to him. This is what the Salaf
this is wrong. This is wrong. I'll bring you the evidence right now. I've got the evidence. But Darimi very clearly says that Allah has a weight.
He's not attributing the weight to Allah himself, meaning Allah himself is the weight that the throne is carrying. He didn't say this. No, nobody said this.
No, I'll bring it to you in one second.
I know what you're talking about. I know some of the Salaf said it, but he doesn't mean it this way. The way you're trying to
brother, you can't escape now. Let me bring the evidence. No problem. Just bring
Nobody's escaping from your evidence.
You'll have two choices. You'll either have to be arrogant and stubborn, or you'll have to accept the truth.
I already answered before I already know what you're going to cite. It's in Naqd al-Darimi or Rad al-Jahmiya. I've seen it already. It's in different books also. Nobody doubts this. Everybody knows that they didn't attribute the weight to Allah himself.
Okay, one second. Let me just send it for
the...
But guys, don't forget
if anyone else wants to see it.
What's up, Muhammad?
don't let him run from the direction.
Yeah, I know. He's not going to run from it. He already ran from it, but
no, it's not the same point, brother.
No, it's not. Direction and weight is two different things. No, it's two different things.
No. It's all combining. You combine them together, then it's a physical thing. Okay,
no.
If you
this
look
is a
here,
different topic. I want to deal with the claim, each separate claim that you combine.
One second. One second.
And then we're going to go back to the direction.
You said Allah is... no, 1 second. We're talking about the weight. Now, I'm giving you the evidence. I sent in general chat the link. It says, "Woe to you if there is nothing on the throne in your claim other than the grace and favor of Allah and His command. Then is it that the throne is making a sound from the grace and favor?"
You're reading.
Wait, one second.
You're reading.
Yeah, I'm translating it. I'm translating it for the people.
Just read it in Arabic first,
brother. Let me translate it first, and then we'll read Arabic. Okay? How about that? It says, as if they are like stones and iron to you, so that the throne makes a sound because of the weight. Favors are traits and deeds which have no weight, and thiqal, and they are not bodies which could cause the throne to make a sound. So he's saying the sound is coming from Allah, and that's what's on the throne. If the sound is not coming from like the ni'mah or the rahmah, etc.
Nobody said
this. Is what he mentions.
Nobody said ni'mah, rahmah. This does not have a weight. Rahmah does not have a weight.
It literally says our ni'mah. Look. It literally says our ni'mah wa amrihi fama bal al arsh.
Where are you reading from?
He says it very
clearly.
What's
ni'ma'uhu? What?
I'll send it. Don't worry, 1 second.
Yeah, just highlight the part that you're reading, because I don't think you're reading Arabic correctly. I clicked on what you sent me. I'm looking for it.
What did you say here?
Let's see.
Yeah, I mean my fatha and my kasra could be incorrect anyway, but I understand what's being said.
Where is he saying that Allah Himself is the reason? He Himself has a weight, and He Himself is exerting this weight that He has on this throne.
He says very clearly, bro, I don't want to repeat myself, but he says very clearly, he's negating the opponent's argument. What's the argument? The argument is that it's the rahmah and the favor of Allah and His command that is basically established.
Al-Marisi, your forefather, is saying basically Allah by essence is above the throne. Rather, Allah's this is above the throne. So something other than Allah is above the throne. So Ad-Darimi now is responding, how can it be that something else other than Allah is above the throne when the throne has atit, the sound that the throne makes?
Okay, exactly.
And then he's saying, this means that there's something real above it, something that exists outside the mind. The rahmah does not exist outside the mind. It's a concept.
Okay, or you could say everyone did hear that? Did you hear that? You just refuted yourself. You just said exactly what I was saying, and you're trying to say no.
So you don't believe Allah exists outside the mind? Is this what we're differing upon? You believe Allah is not a real thing that exists outside the mind?
Guys, he just admitted that the sound that's made from the sitting on the throne is from Allah. He just admitted it.
I didn't mean Allah has weight. I didn't say this. I said that Allah can put this pressure on the throne from Himself. It doesn't have to be that He has a weight. It's fine because Allah exists outside the mind. You said also, by the way, talking about direction and this. I'm not going to run from this. You already ran from direction. I didn't admit anything, by the way. I just explained to you.
1 second. Do you want to translate for everyone again? Do you want to translate again? Here. This is the full text. Translate it for them. Translate it for them, bro. He even speaks about steel and iron.
I'm reading, no problem.
He says, "Wal hadid." Okay.
This,
He's even talking about steel.
This is what he said. Okay. This is what some of the Salaf said.
Okay, and they did kufr. Okay, thank you.
It's not kufr, no. Nobody says this is kufr.
So wait. You said some of the Salaf said this. So are you saying the Salaf had difference of opinion?
In things like this is not usul al-aqidah. This is furu'. This is talking about the arsh, not Allah.
Wait. Okay, so now it becomes a furu'.
There is usul al-aqidah and there is furu' al-aqidah. Affirming thiqal is not.
Okay, thank you. So exactly, the Ashari Maturidis, when they differ, they're talking about furu'.
No. They differ in usul, by the way.
Alhamdulillah. Okay.
They takfir each other about furu'.
Alhamdulillah.
I haven't seen anybody takfir each other.
I've proven my point. You try to contest one point of mine.
No, you haven't proven anything. You're just running away.
Alhamdulillah. The sound is coming from
who? Saying Alhamdulillah, it's not going to really make you like you won. You said that they differ. Yeah, I know. I'm recording from my side also. You said that Ash'aris and Maturidis differ on furu' only, right? This is what you said. But how do they takfir over the furu'? Can you explain this? And this is not even my topic. I just want to deal with the claims that you made against Darimi. So far, you haven't proven anything. The first claim you made, I'll come back to it. I'll bring you back to it because you keep running away from it. You said that Darimi says the direction is physical. Can you please prove to me how a direction can be physical? You still haven't.
I just did. I just explained to you.
No, you didn't. Can you explain?
Okay, let me ask you a question so you can understand. how does something become physical? Explain to me how.
If it exists outside the mind. In my understanding of what physical means, if something exists outside the mind, meaning you can see it, you can touch it, and so on, then it's a real existence in this sense. It's not something that is a concept. It's not like a theory. It's not an idea. It's something that exists outside the mind. This is when something I would refer to as a chair, a table, and things like this. And we believe Allah's existence is outside the mind, not inside the mind. The direction that the Salaf affirmed, the place that the Salaf affirmed is inside the mind. It's a concept. So it's not a creation. So place is not a creation, direction is not a creation, and hadd is not a creation.
Wait. You just said Allah's outside of the mind, right?
Yes, he exists.
So therefore, so you believe he's physical?
So Allah can touch things, yes.
So he's physical?
No, I don't agree with the wording physical. I speak Arabic.
What do you mean? You just defined it. I asked you what's physical. You said Allah exists outside the mind. He's not a mental construct. And then...
I don't agree with the wording physical itself. Like I told you, we believe Allah.
Then why did you define it like that? What do you mean?
Let me say in Arabic. وجوده متحقق بالخارج. You understand what I mean?
No.
Okay. وجوده متحقق بالخارج.
His existence is outside of it or something.
Outside of it, yes. The mind. This is what I mean. This is what I affirm to Allah. That he exists outside the mind. He's not an idea. He's not a concept. And then the place that I affirm that Allah has a place, I don't believe place is a creation. I don't believe it's something that is touchable even, because I believe it's a concept.
Bro, focus.
I'm focusing on the topic. I'm trying to make it easier for you.
You asked me how is pointing at something making it physical. I asked you for clarification. I asked you how does something become physical? How does something become physical? Then you said Allah is it's not a mental construct. It's outside of that. The mind's like your thinking basically is outside of that. And then I asked you, so therefore is it physical? Then you said yes, then you said no. What's going on?
I didn't first say yes and I said no. I always agree.
You said yes and then you said you don't want to speak about it.
No, because I didn't say yes to you saying Allah is physical. I don't affirm the wording physical to Allah. I don't affirm this because physical can have many meanings that I probably do not agree with in sense. Physical can mean under the laws of physics. Physical can mean
so now it's a semantic game. This is what Salafis do, bro.
It's not a semantic game. No, I just don't believe in this wording because it has false meanings also.
Listen. He defined what he means. He means that Allah exists in reality, not an abstract idea.
Yes, this is what he means.
Stop using physical. We don't use physical, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so
you can't force me to speak in a way you want me to, as you said before to Ibn Abd Salam. Yeah,
okay, let me ask you.
Go ahead.
That's fine. Let me ask you a question.
Focus on place and direction and things like this, please. Then we can move on.
Yeah. No, 1 second.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. How do something?
Learning chat? Can you check the learning chat?
Yeah, 1 second.
And tell me why the Salaf.
Yeah, we'll talk about this by the way. Right after place and direction, we'll talk about this because this is important.
Brother, I don't want to copy paste stuff, bro.
No.
Okay. Anyways,
can you just read it? Why?
Okay, just read it.
Al-Hasan ibn Musa al-Ashiyab pointed above toward the sky to mean Allah. Why Al-Qurtubi transmitting the consensus of as-Salaf that they affirmed direction and that Allah is above the throne in real sense.
Qurtubi is an Ash'ari, by the way. He denies ulu, by the way, and he quotes the consensus of the Salaf that they affirmed it, and he still denies it. So you can't say he has bias or anything. It's an Ash'ari and he denies ulu. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll check that in my own time. You sent like a few references. I'll check that. But alhamdulillah, what I've proven today is you believe in a God that makes a sound. Okay? You believe in a God that makes a sound.
Did we say Allah makes a sound or the throne?
And I proved why you're Salafi.
Can you not play games? We don't
I proved how the Salafism leads to kufr.
Show me a single scholar that said Allah makes a sound. As in like with his self?
I just did. Darimi.
He said أطيت العرش, dude. He's not talking about
Darimi, wa Ibn Taymiyyah, wa Ibn Qayyim, all of these scholars have also affirmed this.
Did they say Allah has a sound in this way? Other than Allah speaking, of course, we believe Allah speaks with a sound. You believe Allah's himself, Allah's essence, or Allah's nafs makes a sound. You believe we say this? We never said this.
I just showed you. What do you mean?
No, here, does it say Atit Allah or Atit al-Wahid? Which one?
It says when he look mudaf ilay. Listen. It's mudaf ilay. And this action is
you thought you did something?
Don't play Arabic because your Arabic is weak.
Yeah, please.
Listen. This belongs. One second. This sifa, Allah is attributing in this hadith or whatever this statement is by Darimi,
Allah makes
right?
a sound like Allah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He attributed. Listen. He's attributing the sound when Allah sits. He's saying when Allah sits, there's a sound that emerges. So wait, one second.
What does أطيط العرش mean?
The arsh is making a sound, but the sound is due to Allah sitting.
Thank you. We agree. The arsh makes a sound. Yeah, no problem. Is Allah not able to do this?
So there you go. So God has a weight, right?
When Allah sits, no, Allah does not. When Allah sits on the throne, is it impossible that the throne would make a sound? You believe this is impossible?
Do you affirm that He sits?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, well, why do your scholars differ? Some say he doesn't sit. They say it's a weak hadith.
Where does it say?
No, it's not
okay.
weak, by the way. But yeah.
No, this is what your scholars say, not my scholars.
No, my Salaf, the scholars in the Salaf, they never said the one who affirms Julus is this and this and this is a bad person and so on. You guys say this, the Jahmiya, the worshippers of idols. But the Salaf never said the one who affirms Julus is a kafir, the one who affirms Julus is this.
Of idols. You're telling us the worship of idols.
Yeah,
when your God makes noises, it makes sounds.
You just repeated yourself. You just said that it's a
no, because yeah. Right? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that the sound is coming after him sitting. So the sound is coming due to his sitting.
From where?
Yeah, the arsh. Yeah, no problem. Or the kursi, whatever.
Where is the problem in that? Why do you say you believe Allah makes a sound?
I'm saying that you're saying that He's got a weight.
Yeah, there is weight. No, I don't believe Allah Himself has weight. I believe the action when Allah sits on the throne would cause weight on the throne, would cause the throne to make that sound. But I don't believe Allah Himself has weight.
Bro, your thinking capacity is so low. Look, if I sit on a chair and the chair.
What a refutation!
Why
are you comparing Allah to yourself?
Can I give you an example?
Look what this guy said. He said, when I sit on the throne makes a sound because I have
comparing yourself.
One second.
You are a Muslim.
When we say, look, any logical person when he understands that a person
the
who sits
logical
on
person has to compare Allah to the chair.
This is your scholars.
Muhammad, is it necessary that when Allah sits on the throne and the throne makes a sound that He has to have weight? Or does it mean that He can put weight on the throne?
This context, exactly, this is necessary. This is necessary.
Don't compare Allah to creation.
No, this is your scholars.
You're saying any logical person would say, when I sit on the throne, I have a weight, and this is why the chair feels weight. And you're saying now, just how when Allah sits on the throne, if the throne feels weight, then Allah has weight. I told you, no, this is not logically consistent. Why? Because Allah is not like His creation. Allah can make the throne feel weight without Allah having weight. Done.
Yeah, right? But your scholars have already did the tashbih hatta tseem.
No. Bring me from the Salaf, please. Who said Allah has weight? You said Darimi. Darimi didn't say this. You're the one who did tashbih. It's recorded on your own recording, by the way. People can hear you. When I sit on the throne, I make the way. Yeah, you said this yourself, by the way. But continue now.
Okay. One second. Okay, let me give you a further. Let's go to the third point I mentioned, which was what? He's got a size.
So you conceded on this, right? We can move on now.
No. I'm adding another layer to it. He's got a size.
Oh, you're conceding? Okay, what's the hadith that they relied on?
Another layer.
It's the hadith that mentioned in Ibn Khuzayma's book and mentioned Kitab al-Sunnah that Allah created Adam on His image. One second, that Allah created Adam on His image. One second, that Allah created Adam on His image, and then Adam is 40 something, right?
No.
Who said that Allah Himself has the size? Nobody said
I never said that. No, you're using, bro. Stop trolling.
Allah has a size. I'm not trolling.
Yes.
Said Allah has a size. Show me.
One second. I'll show you exactly what He says. When He sits, He leaves a space of 4 fingers.
Does this mean Allah has a size?
Yeah, let me read the report.
Wait, how does it mean Allah has a size? Is it necessary? It's not necessary that Allah has a size.
It says verily inna kursiyu wasi'u samawati wal ard. Like His kursi is extends to the heaven and earth. Then He says, and there's no space left over in it except the space of 4 fingers.
Does it mean Allah has a size?
Yes, of course. Because He's saying Allah sits on the throne and He leaves no space except 4 fingers.
Prove that He has a size. If this is
where's your aql gone? You guys don't have no aql.
Prove that this necessitates that Allah has a size if that means He leaves space on the throne, according to you. Prove.
Brother, if I say to anyone, I sat on something and then I left the
he
space
compared
of
Allah to himself again.
You are doing tashbih.
Once again,
how else I'm going to give you any example? Every example is going to be a human level example.
No, you're not allowed to.
Then why are you asking me for explanation? No, why are you asking
I
me
asked you to
for
prove the claim. You said that if Allah leaves space, then Allah has a size. Prove it.
Okay. Let me one second. Let me prove it to you. Okay, no problem. Let me prove it to you. Let me prove it to you. Let me prove it to you. Amir, let me prove it to you.
Let him prove it. Unmute him.
Let me prove it to you. So if a being is sitting on a throne which has a size, okay, he's sitting on it, then that being saying that there's 4 fingers of space, there's 4 fingers space that's left. That means he encompasses all of the space of the chair and only 4 fingers are left. Do you understand? Does it make sense now?
No. I'll explain.
I understand that you do tashbih.
Now you're comparing Allah to Allah can sit in a way. 1 second. Allah can sit in a way on the throne where he can leave this space, logically speaking, without having a size. No issue with this.
That's logically impossible.
No, it's not.
That's logically impossible.
Yeah, we don't know the how.
It's impossible according to who?
Bro, this is logically impossible based on logic.
It's possible. No, it's possible. I just explained.
This is based
I don't believe in it.
You are
based on logic. If a being is sitting on something and then he's saying there's 4 fingers left, the only conclusion you can make is that he encompasses all of the space of the throne.
Because you don't know how that being can do this. You're not sure of how.
I understand that you do tashbih.
Yeah, we don't do tashbih.
Can I just
we believe it's possible.
explain his argument?
Yeah,
can I just explain your argument?
Go ahead.
Your argument is I will do tashbih of Allah with the creation to prove that he has a size.
Can I cut you off? Not with the creation. He's comparing Allah to something that he himself does not even know how the thing that this sits. He just compares Allah to humans because he knows how humans sit and animals and so on. When they leave space from a chair that they're sitting on, then they have a size because they already have a size, not because they left space on the throne or the chair that they're sitting on. You're comparing Allah to animals, humans, and so on. The God that we worship, Allah, we don't compare him to animals and humans. This is exactly what you and us.
And we don't know the attributes.
What did the Prophet say to his dad? He told him, why do you, not Prophet Muhammad, why do you worship this idol? Does not help you, does not speak, and so on. So you believe that God does not speak. Same as Ibrahim. It's the same as your God. Your God does not speak. And I tell you, why do you worship this idol that does not speak? Like Ibrahim told his father about the idol that he worshipped. This is why I believe you worship an idol.
The batil has been destroyed. The batil has been destroyed. You've been shown that you worship a God that has weight to it. He's got a size to it. He has a place. He has a direction.
Allah has a place. This is your own
scholar saying.
Hold on. Please, 1 second. Is place an attribute?
You're blind, brother. You're blind.
Muhammad, just 1 second. We believe Allah's had is an attribute of Allah.
We are in front of you and strawmanning us.
Muhammad, come on, man. When did I say that place is an attribute? When did I say that had is an attribute? It's not an attribute. Had is not an attribute. Limit. You believe limit is had in Arabic. When the Salaf said Allah has a had, did they believe that Allah has an attribute called had? Nobody says this. This is just an explanation of what happens or what is going on.
Did I say he has an attribute of such a thing?
Yeah, you said you believe Allah has this and this and this and this.
No, I said this is what your scholars have mentioned.
No, the scholars did not say this.
And you affirmed at least a few of them. You affirmed at least few of them. You affirmed that 4 fingers one. You affirmed the sitting. You affirmed
5, not 4, 5. The Prophet affirmed.
The one I'm looking at, it says 4 fingers. It says.
You're talking about something else. I'm talking about Allah's fingers.
The hadith, there is the hadith differentiate. There's a variant with 4.
Yes, brother. Or before refuting, think 10 times.
Muhammad Qasim.
So yes.
Can you be sincere?
Yeah, please. Like it's not funny to be honest.
Sincere? Who judges the sincerity?
Muhammad Qasim, you want to talk about ulu, makan, direction? This topic, it's a little more easy for you in my opinion. First, we explain what place means. You understood that there's a difference between concepts.
It's easy for you, I think, bro. I've completely destroyed your sect, bro. The Salafism sect. I destroyed. I just showed you how your God sits on the throne and he has a size. He has 4. He leaves 4 fingers. What the hell is that all about?
What a lie! When did we say
what
Allah?
What the hell is that all about?
You're the one that made the claim that if you affirm this, then then Allah has a size. I asked you to prove that if you affirm this, then Allah has a size. Your evidence was... Muhammad, can I talk? I let you talk, by the way, and you know this. Everybody here knows that I let you talk, so please let me talk. You're the one that made the claim that if you believe Allah leaves 4 fingers on the throne, then Allah has a size, and I asked you, what is the evidence that this is the case? If you leave 4 fingers, then you must have a size. You said, because when I sit on the kursi or the chair, then I have a size. Your answer or your evidence was, you tried this before, and turns out that you have a size and you did it, therefore Allah is the same like you. This is your evidence. You compared Allah to yourself.
No, that's not true. That's not true. So
okay, give me the evidence.
One second. The first thing I did, I gave... Listen, let me respond. The first thing I did was I gave you an example, a human example, so you can comprehend it, because you're not able to even understand basics. One second. You can't understand basics. Scholars, listen. Scholars sometimes give a human example for you to comprehend certain things. But if you can't understand like a basic sentence, then I told you, okay, let's speak about it. I told you if a being is sitting on something, he leaves a space of only 4 fingers. He only leaves a space of 4 fingers. Does that mean he has no size if he's sitting on it and he leaves a space of 4 fingers? And then you're like, no, it still doesn't mean that. So then I can't help you, bro. You're going against logic, simple logic.
No, I'm not. You have to prove to me that this is simple logic. According to, is that logic? Who said this before? Nobody said this. Muhammad Qasim, your argument is really deceptive. When scholars use examples to make something seem easier to understand, they would not say, okay, like I'll give you an example. You guys, usually the Jahmiya and your forefathers, Marisi and these people, they say the earth can't be round because if Allah is above, according to you, Wahhabis, then there's the guys that have nighttime, they have to point down. So now we can give an example, not to compare Allah, but to give you an example where it's possible in creation that this could be the case, and it's not going to be the case where you say, no, you have to point down. We can prove to you, like, look, for example, I'm holding a ball in my hand, very tiny ball. It has bacteria on the surface, and every side of the ball, if it points up, it's still pointing up to my hand when I grip that ball. This is the example that the scholars would give to make something seem understandable to you. So they would tell you, look, even in the creation, it's possible. Therefore, for Allah, it's also possible. Now, they're not comparing because they're saying if the creation can do it, Allah can do even more because Allah is capable of doing everything else. But you're saying because the creation can't do it, therefore Allah can't do it. This is what you did. You did the exact opposite. You're saying because the creation is limited, that they can't sit on a throne without having a size, or they can't sit on a kursi without having a size. Therefore, Allah can't sit on the throne without having a size. You're comparing Allah to creation. This is the difference between them showing an example where they can differentiate between an example, show you how it's possible because it's possible for humans. You're doing the opposite. You're saying it's negative for human, therefore negative for Allah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So what happened? Look. What happens then is that you're making words meaningless. That's why it goes to semantics. You're making words meaningless.
I can define what
a being. One second. If you're saying that a being is sitting, and he's sitting on a throne, and then he leaves a space of 4 fingers, and if we take the meaning, how we understand it from the Zahir, apparently that's how you're supposed to understand it, right? So you understand it from the Zahir. When you understand it from the Zahir, it's very clear that this being has a size because he's sitting, and then he leaves a space of 4 fingers. And there's no other space except the 4 fingers.
We don't affirm in chain. This is not a lazim. We only affirm the lazim if it's a lazim of a haqq. We don't believe this is a lazim. This is what I'm trying to tell you. It's not something that is entailed, that he should have a size if he can leave 4 fingers. Nobody said this.
This is a lazim. Of course it is. Why is it not?
It's not a lazim. You have to prove to me it's a lazim.
Why?
I can't affirm it. It's not a lazim.
Now tell me why is it not a lazim?
Like, for example, when I affirm someone has nails, do I also affirm that his nails can grow? Is this a lazim for having nails, that the nails can grow? You would say yes. Yeah. But now, is Allah incapable of creating nails that do not grow?
No, it's not incapable.
Okay, so it's not a lazim that the nail should grow just because he has a nail. Likewise, I don't believe this is a lazim, and you just agreed that this is not a lazim, that the nail should grow for it to be a nail. So even if Allah can sit, I don't believe he has to have a size to sit. Sitting is not defined by having size. Having size is a possible attribute of something that can sit, but it's not the definition of sit. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me refute the argument. You gave the example of nails, okay? Watch this now. By definition, nails can either grow or not grow, or they'll stay the way they are for a certain amount of time.
Do you know any type of nails that do not grow?
So one second. It's not impossibility. So firstly, nails.
No, you believe in tamatul al-ihsan. Please, don't answer for something that is not your madhab. This is your madhab.
Allow me to. One second.
You're not answering on your madhab, but continue.
Don't worry about my madhab. Listen, the nails, right? okay, by definition is something that's on the flesh. Okay, that's the definition of it. Now, the same thing, one second, is something, however you want to define it, bro. When you look at the definition of a nail, actually, you know what? One second. Let's look at the definition of a nail and watch what happens.
When you cut a nail off, it's not a nail anymore?
No, one second. One second.
You jump to more implications, more entitlement.
No, 1 second. I'm going to compare it. 1 second.
This guy.
Okay, so a nail, this rings from other nail.
Dictionary or what?
Yeah, you can look on a dictionary. 1 second. Let me just this ring like a bolt kind of nail.
And I want to ask you for the meaning of.
So look. 1 second. I'm looking at it, right? It says, the nail is an infolding of a skin that occurs at the terminal end of each digit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that definition. Let me see.
Because it doesn't suit you.
Yeah,
it's a bit strange.
Yeah,
do you have a better definition?
Like I told you, it can make many things. But when I say that I have a nail, what are we used to in Arabic? Or let's say English. You know Arabic, but we're going to say English because you know English?
No, brother, 1 second. I found it.
No problem.
It says, it says here, a nail is a protective plate. Islam is respond first. It said a nail is a protective plate characteristically found at the tip of the digits, fingers, and toes of all primates. Okay. Okay, so that's essentially the definition. Does it say anything about growing or not growing? Does it say no?
The definition of nail is that it's protective.
No, wait.
1 second.
What? 30 more seconds.
I want to talk about.
I'm just going to compare it now. I'm going to compare it now. Now, when it comes to sitting, by definition, when you're sitting upon a throne or you're sitting upon something. No, 1 second. By definition, when a person is saying that this being is sitting and then he leaves a space of 4 fingers, by definition, he's saying that there's a size to it. By saying there's 4 fingers, he leaves a space of 4 fingers. By definition, whereas a nail, by definition, it doesn't mean that. So you've been disproven.
Is it by definition when you sit on some? Muhammad Qasim, is it by definition? Is sitting by definition necessary that in order to sit, you need to have a size? No, the definition of sitting is not having size.
Yes.
This is not a definition of sitting. This is not the meaning of sitting. So now when I tell you I'm sitting, why do you believe that I have a size? Not because I told you I'm sitting, but because you know humans have sizes. When I tell you there's a being that sits...
what's the definition of sitting? What's the definition of sitting?
What's the definition of mercy? There's only one definition. When I told you I'm sitting, you already imagined I'm sitting. But you don't know how I'm sitting. Can you tell me how I'm sitting?
No. I want a definition.
Yeah, I know.
You do
Can you tell me how I'm sitting?
You do ithbat of the
ma'na. The meaning of istiwa is julus. The meaning of istiwa is julus. Now please answer me. When I tell you I'm sitting right now, do you know how I'm sitting?
Can you get the definition, please?
When I tell you I'm sitting on the chair right now, what do you understand from this? Can you tell me?
1 second. The definition of sitting is occupying a place. Now, when a being is occupying a place and then he's saying there's only 4 fingers left, isn't that size?
This is not the meaning of sitting. The meaning of sitting is not occupying a place.
Come on, lad. Don't be this silly, bro.
This is not the meaning of sitting. So when I tell you I'm sitting, you don't know if I'm standing. Exactly, but let me talk to him. Muhammad, when I tell you I'm sitting, Muhammad, please, just let me talk.
I'm not going to waste more time.
When I tell you I'm sitting,
waste more time on this.
You're running away because you know you made a mistake. You know that, right? When I tell you I'm sitting, Muhammad, please listen. When I tell you I'm sitting, doesn't mean that I'm standing or sitting or sleeping, because this all takes that I take place. All of this necessitates that I take place. Does it mean that the meaning of sitting is taking place? So now you don't know if I'm standing or sitting or laying down because the meaning of sitting, according to you, is taking place. How is this the meaning of sitting? So when I tell you I'm sitting, you understand by this, maybe he's standing, maybe he's laying down, maybe he's sleeping, maybe he's piled up, cornered, maybe he's...
When did I say that?
You just said the meaning of sitting is taking place. What is the meaning of standing taking place?
I didn't say that. I didn't say it's taking place.
Yes, you did.
I said occupying.
It's recorded. I swear to God, it's recorded. Okay, occupying.
Go listen to it. I said occupying a place.
It does not make a difference. Occupying a place. When I tell you I'm sitting, doesn't mean that I occupy a place, meaning that you don't know if I'm sitting or laying down or standing, because all of this, according to you, is also occupying.
All those are occupying.
Bro, look. Obviously, it's going to be in a seated position.
Bro, you're not giving me the meaning of sitting.
Why are you being so pedantic?
Seated position. What is the meaning of seated position?
In a seated position.
Oh yeah, we do believe Allah occupies place, by the way, but we don't believe the sitting means occupying place. Sitting means something else.
That's what idols do. That's what idols do, bro. They occupy place.
Muhammad Qasim, so you occupy place, you're an idol?
idols, humans, creation.
You're an idol because you occupy a place, right?
I didn't say only idols. Come on, bro.
You believe in تماثل الأجسام.
Stop just trying to clutch on clothes. You're trying to clutch on anything. You're trying to clutch on anything.
You're the one running away.
Your whole methodology,
it's recorded. Everybody sees that you define sitting as occupying place, and standing is also the same definition to you. Therefore, no problem. You bring me a definition. So when the Prophet says, for example, give zakat, now you say, oh, I don't know what he means by give zakat. Zakat can mean this and 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 this. Therefore, we don't know what the Prophet means. Therefore, I'm not going to give zakat. According to you, this is a lazim for you. Why? Because now you're disregarding the language itself. In English, when I say I'm sitting, everybody in this VC, if they're honest, everybody in this VC, if they're honest, I swear to God, when I say I'm standing, all of them know what I mean. But none of them know how I'm standing. I could be standing on one leg. I could be standing on my hands. But everybody here knows that when I say I'm standing, that I'm actually standing. Because this is the language, and Allah says in the Quran that He revealed the Quran in Arabic language. So something that we're used to. Mubin also, Allah describes it as.
So you apply human thinking to Allah.
No, Allah said this. Allah said this. He revealed the Quran in Arabic. He revealed the Quran in the language that we know.
You said whatever comes out to our mind. But when we say standing, what comes to our mind is that human standing. You apply human thinking to Allah.
Don't straw man.
Then you say
Allah said He revealed it in Arabic. In Arabic, when I say I'm standing, everybody here knows what it means.
Amir, you're just repeating
nobody
yourself.
Ever assumes that I'm standing, meaning that I'm laying down.
This discussion has been going on for like over an hour.
Oh, you want to run away now? You want to run away now?
I'm dealt with you.
You're not even learning. Everybody knows.
I refute your creed. I showed how your God has weight.
1 second. You even removed
I showed how sound is made from the throne. I've showed all the
You removed the program that records the VC. You think I didn't record it on my own? Wallahi, I swear to God, I'm going to post this on YouTube and expose you, Mujassam, that you compare Allah to you sitting on the kursi.